Welcome to the Polish Consulate General in Chicago. My name is Konrad Zielinski, and I will have the pleasure of leading today's ceremony. First of all, I would like to thank you for coming. And of course, we will start with the national anthems. The performance of the national anthems will be accompanied by the Polish Scouts Guard of Honor. Please enter. Thank you. The national anthems of the Republic of Poland and the United States of America will be performed by soprano Mira Sojka-Topur and with the piano accompaniment of pianist Igor Lipinski. Please stand to the national anthem of the Republic of Poland. The national anthem of the United States of America. Thank you very much. Please take your seats. It is now my great honor and pleasure to introduce to you Consul General of the Republic of Poland in Chicago, Mrs. Paulina Kapuścińska.
Thank you very much. I'm very impressed and humbled standing before you. Thank you so much for coming. I wanted to welcome you with this little yellow flower, daffodil, which is a symbol of this year commemoration in Warsaw, so it's obviously also here in Chicago. I would like to welcome in particular our special guests, Holocaust and Warsaw Ghetto survivors. Thank you so much for making this effort and joining us today. I would like to acknowledge and welcome descendants of the righteous among the nations. I welcome veterans. I welcome leaders in Jewish American and Polish American communities here in Chicago and also the region of Midwest. I welcome religious leaders, representatives of the American administration, of Senator Kirk, of Mayor Rahm Emanuel, of Governor Pat Quinn, of Treasurer Dan Rutherford, of the Illinois National Guard. I was told that Alderman Michael Smith and Ariel Reboiras is joining us. Thank you very much. Here I have special letters of recommendations from those authorities. We truly appreciate. Thank you so much. I also welcome Polish Scouts with Barbara Halko. Thank you so much for being with us today. And all my colleagues from the Consular Corps, thank you so much for being in such a wonderful number. I know how busy you are, but I know how important this cause is as well. Appreciate, in particular, I recognize the presence of consuls, general of Israel, of Germany, and of Austria. I welcome the executive president of the Holocaust Museum in Skopje. Our grand commemoration is also streamed live online, for which I thank the media representatives who are with us today. Welcome, everyone. As we Ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate a very special and very important anniversary. Exactly 70 years ago, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising broke out in resistance to Nazi Germany's final efforts to transport the remaining Warsaw Ghetto population to Treblinka German extermination camp. A year before the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising broke out, about 300,000 Jews were deported to gas chambers of Treblinka. Those who survived knew that their death sentences were merely postponed. The only choice they had left was the choice of how they would die. And they decided to die as heroes in battle. Żydowska Organizacja Bojowa, the Jewish Combat Organization, was created and led by Mordechai Anielewicz. The first combat encounter took place as early as January 1943, when the Germans entered the ghetto. The Jewish population, convinced that this was to be their final day, resisted the Nazis. Then in January, they did it so successfully at that time that surprised Germans retreated from the ghetto. After these events, preparation for the uprising gained momentum. Weapons were brought, provisions were made, and bunkers were set up. The Jewish Combat Organization received support from the Polish resistance at that time. On April 19th, the German forces under the command of Jürgen Stroop surrendered the ghetto at night. The occupant made a point of committing the most atrocious crimes against the Jews on Jewish holidays. April 19th was the eve of the holiday of Passover. About 1,000 to 1,500 insurgents from the Jewish Combat Organization and Jewish Military Union fought the German forces for 28 days. Eventually, the Germans, wishing to erase all traces of Jewish presence in Warsaw at that time, set fire to buildings, houses, after house. On May 8th, German forces discovered the bunker where leaders of Jewish combat organization were hiding, surrendered. The insurgents chose to commit suicide along with Mordechai Anielewicz. May 16th marks the symbolic end of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising when, by the order of Jürgen Stroop, the great synagogue on Tłomackie was blown up. Throughout the uprising, about 7,000 Jews were killed, most of them burned alive. The Germans captured and deported from 50 to 60,000 Jews to the concentration camps. The area of the ghetto was burned down and the remaining ruins were razed to the ground. Next year, in August 1944, broke out so-called Big Warsaw Uprising, which eventually caused close to 250,000 victims and left whole Warsaw completely destroyed. Warsaw was the most ruined capital of World War II. Many among the Polish insurgents in 1944 were Jews, survivors from the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, who felt the need to fight for Warsaw, fight for Poland. As now as we commemorate the victims of the uprising here in Chicago, the uprising battleground, Warsaw, has already been 2 hours into April 19th, the day of grand commemoration during which sirens will be sounded throughout the city and bells will chime in all the churches of the Warsaw Archdiocese as the capital city honors its Jewish heroes, many of them native Warsawians, who stood up against Nazi German tyranny. Indeed, there is no history of Poland without the Jews, and no history of Jews without Poland. In fact, Poland is the land of ancestry for 90% of all American Jews and for the majority of Jews living across the world today. Founders of the State of Israel were born in Poland. That long and fascinating history will soon be available in the world's largest museum about the whole millennium of Jewish presence in Europe, which soon opens in the heart of the former Warsaw Ghetto, the Museum of the History of Polish Jews in Warsaw. I would like to conclude with a quotation from the appeal of the Rabbinical Council of the Republic of Poland from September 2nd, 1939, which shows that Poland was perceived as a welcoming homeland throughout the ages. Quotation. And you can find this appeal in the material. Let us praise the name of Eternal, brothers in Israel, citizens of the most serene Republic of Poland. The eternal enemy has invaded our so ardently beloved homeland, Poland, in the most dishonorable and evil way, devoid of calms and all human emotion. The enemy brings slaughter, plunder, and destruction. We Jews, children of this land since time immemorial, stand in battle array, ready and waiting for Mr. President of the Republic of Poland and Supreme Commander to call us, to defend our beloved homeland at our post and, if necessary, sacrifice our lives and our worldly possessions unreservedly at the altar of our homeland. This is our highest civic and religious obligation in our holy faith, which we will most gladly fulfill. May God help us and Poland. We raise our prayers to our Maker for the victory of Poland. Let us hope He will hear our prayers. Amen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask to the podium the Honorable Consul General of Israel, Ray Gilad. Please.
Consul General of Poland, and my colleagues, Consul Generals, guests, and last but definitely not least, Holocaust survivors and survivors of the uprising in Warsaw Ghetto. Good evening. The Warsaw Ghetto uprising that Paulina just depicted its story was the largest, the most important Jewish uprising and the first urban uprising in German-occupied Europe. The resistance in Warsaw inspired other uprisings in ghettos like Białystok and Minsk, and other killing centers like Treblinka and Sobivo. The less than 1,000 Jews that took part in the uprising knew that they cannot win the war. You knew that basically this is like committing a suicide. However, you choose a dignified death over humiliation. You knew that you had nothing to lose but your dignity. What lessons can we learn from the uprising? Jews should have always the ability to defend themselves. This is not to say that we should ignore the international community. However, in 1942, there was nobody to help the Jews. 3 years after the end of the war, the Jewish state, of which we just celebrate 65th anniversary, was established. It was, is, and will be the main responsibility of the State of Israel to provide security to our own people. And nowadays, there are 8 million people living in the State of Israel. 20% of them are non-Jewish. Facing all the very many challenges that we faced during the last 65 years, and it has to be said that I don't think there is any other democracy in the Western world that have faced so many challenges as the State of Israel, and facing the current challenges, facing all those challenges that we are facing currently, coming either from Iran or from Syria, from South Lebanon or from Gaza, the State of Israel maintained the ability to defend itself by its own security forces. Indeed, with the support of good friends like the United States, like Poland, like Germany, and yet Israel in 2013 is a strong state that in a time of need will be able to defend its own citizens, even if left alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to thank the Polish Scouts Guard of Honor. Thank you again. The time has come for the artistic part of our celebration. I would like to introduce to you the artists who will perform today. Among us we have the renowned cantor Alberto Mizrahi from Anshe Emet Synagogue, Chicago. We have violinist Abigail Gilad, daughter of Consul General of Israel. we have Polish pianist Igor Lipiński. And we have also a Polish flautist and daughter of a Holocaust survivor, Joanna Turska. First to perform will be Abigail Gilad. Thank you.
The song about missing one's Shtetl. Was ist geworden von mein Shtetl? There's a little English explanation if you want in your programs. wenn ich Länder wollen sie, wenn ich bin ein Kind der Welt, in der Heim, in Städte der Amor, in die schöne Winternächte, pflegen wir spazieren gehen, und ich wohne, wenn Hanoi ist, ohne Zorn. Nur die Dämmert ist gewähnt, so herzig, so schön, wenn ich pflegen gehen vorbei, die Schuhe. Und der Rasen scheine still und geklingen so Frieden bei dem Abend mit Kreuz gefiel.
ist geworden von mein Städtele, hoi, was ist geworden von mein
as I'm about to chant a memorial prayer for those lost in the Shoah and, of course, in the Warsaw Ghetto, I ask you to please rise for the El Malera Camino.
El Malera Camino Shochei Monerogi Ametzei Melochane Chona Tachat Kanef Yashkina Bemarot Kedoshim Uteorim Kezom Horokia Masierim Lenishem
one of the most famous, perhaps one of the top 3-4 composers of the 20th century and now into the 21st century, from Krakow. I can count him, I'm very honored to be able to count him as a friend, and he wrote this commission of a Kaddish, which has a long history. Read about it in your booklets. But the Kaddish, which is said in both regular happy occasions and services and at times of our deepest mourning, which is only exaltation of God, even at times of our darkest mourning. He wrote this in a commission from the Łódź community and the 65th anniversary of the liquidation of that ghetto. And I'd like to sing it for you here, as I will again with the Warsaw Philharmonic this October.
Ma יחון, וביום אחד, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה מזמן קריב,
Amen.
let's have a moment of silence.
Once again,
Thank you very much for this outstanding performance, Cantor Alberto Mizrahi. Thank you so much for your performance. Please, all artists, please come to the podium. And I have to underline that those extraordinary artists, with one promising, wonderful young artist, they perform properly Gabona today. Thank you very much. So now the official part of our event concludes. Thank you very much. And now it's time to enjoy our company. Thank you very much for coming.
At the UIC, University of Illinois.
Okay, if necessary to talk to people.
what about, let's see, she's the one coming tonight.
Remind me the room number 40.
U of I.
Okay, I'll be there. Thank you.
Over a month.
10 o'clock, okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you. Nice. Have you got my